What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how are we doing on this magnificent Monday?
Bro, it's a tundra Monday out here, pouring down rain. I'm cold as hell. But besides that, I'm doing pretty good, man. The Jets won yesterday, which is always nice. I'm a casual football fan, and when they're doing well, I enjoy it. Giants won too. Shout out to them. And I do got to give a little bit of credit where it's due because I was talking some shit last week about Fanatics. Got to give him a little credit, bro. Got to give him a little credit.
That's so good.
First shirt came in, but here's the thing. I ordered 3 things. Like I said, I got this shirt, I got the A-Lee's clean shirt, and then I got this in sweatshirt form. Those 2 haven't arrived yet. So they're not fully, back in my good graces, but I got this one in. So props to you, Fanatics. I feel like I had to do that because I was talking shit about them last week.
All right. Well, first of all, let's just address this right before we started recording here. I was like, Dan, that's you look like you're going camping with that jacket. He's like, oh, it won't be on for long. You'll see. I was like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're like trying to get more information. I was just like, don't mention it, bro. We'll get to it. How you doing?
But I'm chilling, solid. I'm gonna be honest, it's freezing. I don't know if it's because it's like mornings. I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like it's gotten cold very fast this year.
Oh yeah, a while ago. I feel like by the second week of September, bro, it was brisk outside.
We had like 1 week of fall, and now it's just straight winter. So I don't know what's going on. But listen, the Yankees are good. Yankees have clinched. Yankees, bro, rocking and rolling. So I say we get right into things here. Starting off with topic number 1 here, looking towards the postseason and whatnot. Let's start reaching for expectations at this point, right? Looking at the Yankees lineup, seeing what we want to expect out of the Yankees postseason lineup. And I guess kind of like looking at the Yankees lineup and anyone not named Aaron Judge, because we kind of like know what the bar is for him at this point. Who's one player in the Yankees lineup that we have the biggest postseason expectations for at this point?
All right, man. So this shows how quickly things can change in baseball. Dude, I'm going with Gleyber Torres, who a month ago and I feel kind of dumb because we did do this. When we were talking about grading his career a month back, I'm not saying I'm against trading him in the offseason, but all I'm saying, the outlook on him has certainly changed. And yeah, he's going into the playoffs with big expectations for a couple of different reasons. One, he is probably playing the best that we've seen him as a Yankee this month. Since September 1st, in 24 games, 323 batting average, 6 homers, 25 RBIs, a 962 OPS. That is his highest for a month since August of 2019, believe it or not. And dude, he's done it before, has a good postseason resume, 325 average with a 988 OPS in 22 postseason games. The way I see it, Gleyber's looking as good as we've ever seen him heading into a month where he thrives. And you know what Judge is going to do. I was thinking about going with Stanton, but he had the homer the other day. I don't have the expectations too crazy high. I feel like we're going to kind of go off of like I don't know if you want to say like an X factor basis conversation, but if Gleyber Torres is the Gleyber Torres of September, we might be sitting pretty offensively in October. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. I mean, it's crazy looking back at like our grades of Gleyber Torres just because how quickly things change in a month. Like I don't feel bad because at the time, like that's what we were grading him off of. I think if like we grade him now, I might still give his career maybe like half a grade up. However, like, his season grade's definitely going up a bunch. But yeah, no, huge expectations for him in the postseason. Now he's worked his way up to the top half of the order. He probably would have been my pick too, but for the sake of the show, I'm not going to like pick this.
I was going to say, I was like, Pat, please let me go first. If not, I think he's definitely going to pick Gleyber.
So I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo. I think that I think everyone's kind of been sleeping on Rizzo, like really solid season. And I think him like kind of separating like Judge and Gleyber maybe at this point, like at the top half of the order rather than Judge and Stanton. I think that he's just awesome. I think we've kind of like taken Rizzo for granted, kind of like what he provides to the lineup and whatnot. I know we touched on it a little bit last week when we talked about his contract, but yeah, no, I have huge expectations for Rizzo.
Another thing too, man,
a gamer too. Like, you know what I mean? Like he has that postseason experience. Like
he's the guy now, man, that he's done it before. You look across the roster. I mean, I guess Chapman is actually one of them who we'll get to in a moment, but yeah, dude's been there and done that before. And you look at his stats coming off the IL, he's been pretty solid. So returning from the back injury in over 51 plate appearances, has a 121 OPS plus. So I guess you could say he's healthy, which, dating back to all of Rizzo conversation, that's kind of what it's been about. Because when he's been healthy, he's been pretty damn good this year. And yeah, overall, man, I think you're right about that. We do kind of take Rizzo for granted. He's had a good ass year, loved in the clubhouse. I mean, I think it's safe to say just from the yes dugout shots, it seems like him and Judge, like that's the tightest group.
Oh, dude,
on the team, which is awesome. I love it. So some good picks by us today. I like that. Glaber and Rizzo. Some other ones you can maybe go with. I mean, depending on where you see Matt Carpenter, that's a big one. And I want to give some props to IKF has been tearing it up. Well, tearing it up for IKF standards, but
good. Yeah.
Yeah. If you saw my tweet from last night I don't want to pull it up, but he has like an over 800 OPS, and the defense, he's had a couple bad plays, but also I find myself not complaining about it as much, So a little shout out to IKF. Whenever we can go talk about IKF and not bully him, which it seems like you're about to do, I try to do it. But what are you?
I'm not bullying him. I'm just saying I think it's kind of like, how we say like, oh, we're not complaining about it. I think it's because it's like Stockholm syndrome at this point, right? I think we've kind of like come to the realization IKF is going to be the Yankee shortstop in the postseason. So there's no sense in kind of complaining. Like I'm not going to be like
shortstop. He might be the shortstop in 2023 too, which I'm sure will probably be a topic,
especially in the first half of the season. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and be like, start Peraza. Because even if you start Peraza at this point, he's not starting in the postseason. So, I've come to terms with the fact that IKF is the shortstop for this postseason.
Before we move on, quick little shout out to him too. He's played well. I think his OPS is over 800. Yeah. So
shout out to him. But speaking of people who are not doing well, Aroldis Chapman, and as many of you should know if you've seen any episodes of the Yankees Avenue Show, I've really wanted to see Aroldis Chapman do good, just because I want to see dominant Chapman, especially going into the postseason with the Yankees bullpen that's kind of depleted. I thought Chapman could be a huge X factor. Since coming back, when he first came back, he looked pretty good, to be honest, I would say, in his first couple of appearances, but now he's kind of lost complete feel for the strike zone again. He seemingly can't throw anything for a strike. And now I guess we're kind of looking at Chapman and doubting if he's even going to make the postseason roster. Like when you have me doubting if he even deserves to be on the postseason roster at this point, it's a serious problem.
It's passed down for me too, man. I mean, he's done. I don't think there's a chance. You can't put him on there. You really can't. I understand. We'll get to the bullpen injuries, but regardless, if you want to say the injury to Ron gets him on, I don't think so. At this point, Miguel Castro's available. If you're trying to get somebody else on, it can't be Chapman. It would have to be him.
Even if he is on the postseason roster, I can't see a scenario where they even trust him in a game, right? Like even if it's like an 8-0 game, throw Licky in there over Chapman.
What have you heard me say this entire show about him? I'm not losing to the postseason because of Aroldis Chapman, especially maybe it'd be a little more forgivable if you went into that playoffs looking good and then you lost with him on the mound. But knowing what the fact that he's nowhere near the guy who he was in the first couple of years of his contract, no chance. No chance.
So listen, with that being said, though, it looks like obviously if he isn't on the postseason roster, that's the end of Chapman's Yankees career. That's just the bottom line. They aren't going to re-sign him this offseason. So now I guess we kind of reflect on that contract that he got after the 2016 season. $99 million over 6 years. I think that there was an opt-out and then a re-sign at some point.
So it was $586 that he signed before 2017, opted out of that after 2019. So overall, though, it's 99 over 6.
Yeah. How are we kind of looking at the Aroldis Chapman era in the Bronx, I guess?
Yeah. So, I mean, would I do the contract again? No, I wouldn't do the contract again, but that's really not because of his performance, because believe it or not, for the most part, he was pretty good. I mean, if you look at the numbers, 2.99 ERA over 261 innings, over 400 strikeouts from 2017 to 2022. Really solid numbers. Thing is, though, unless you're prime Mariano Rivera, and even that I have to think about, paying $17 million for a reliever is something that the Yankees should simply never do again. I've said the same thing about Zach Britton when he was on his game. You see what the Yankees are capable of doing, taking either failed starters or even just relievers that haven't been all that great, and they seem to turn them into good assets on the mound. Knowing you can do that, shelling out that much money for any reliever makes absolutely no sense on a team that, for some reason that we have to pinch pennies around here. Committing right now, 2022, we have over $30 million to 2 relievers. That's something that I'd like to think never happens again. So I don't really have anything against Chapman. It's just at this point, I think he's just washed. He's 34 years old, 35 years old, and you just can't rely on him anymore.
Yeah. But also, here's my thing, though. It's when I get asked a question, would I do this contract again? I'd probably say, yeah. Just because, you have to remember, at the time, Chapman was Chapman coming off the Cubs World Series run. And you know what? Yeah, no, I would do it again just because I'm still considering Chapman's 10 years a Yankee, somewhat of a success. If I had to give it a grade, probably a B-.
I'm probably with you
that's fair.
On there. Yeah, and this is a big if you were to somehow take the playoffs out of the equation and you just look at the overall landscape of his performance over a large sample size, he was pretty good for us. He really was. 17 was solid. 18 was really good. 19 was really good in the regular season. 20, I think, was all right until the Brasso homer. You know what it is? It's kind of like Chapman pitched well. He leaves a lot of sour taste in your mouth with the last pitch he threw.
And that's all people remember.
Unfortunately, which I can't blame them for either, though. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like that. It's what is that? Like a philosophical thought. It's like, yo, you do 9 good things for someone, you do one bad thing, that's all they remember.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
but yeah, no, listen, Chapman, I'm sorry, but yeah, I think
he'll catch on somewhere with somebody next year. And he'll probably be pretty damn good, I bet you. I think he has a couple good years left in the tank.
No, he might.
There's no chance you would even enter the negotiation table with him, right, in the offseason.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any chance. But speaking of the Yankees bullpen, a bullpen that's now looking seriously depleted. Speaking of Chapman, I mean, the loss of him there, and now also the loss of a couple more arms too. Clay Holmes, Wandy Peralta, and Ron Marinaccio now are all suffering injuries. Now, listen, I don't know what the deal is with Marinaccio, because I think Boone said that like he's not ruled out completely of the Rangers series. So that's something.
The ALDS, I think. Or did he say Rangers series?
No, yeah, because I think Meredith asked him after the game on Sunday. She was like, "Oh, like, does this mean like you're gonna shut down Marinaccio for the Texas series?" He's like, "No, not necessarily." Like,
that's good news then, because then the ALDS wouldn't start until a week after that. So if we're already in play for Texas, cool.
However, I'm pretty sure Wandy and Clay are both ruled out for the Texas series. Yeah. However, I think Wandy should be back for the ALDS. Either way,
and Holmes too, ideally.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, the Yankees bullpen, there's a lot of injuries there.
It's a concern.
So now I guess we kind of have to like assess the situation and ask the question, do the Yankees have enough in their bullpen in order to last through October? I mean, the way I'm looking at it right now, they don't necessarily have a closer. Like, let's say the guys I just mentioned aren't really options. The back end of the Yankees bullpen for the ALDS will look like Scott Efros, Jonathan Loaisiga, Lou Trevino. I mean, it's not horrible considering like all the injuries. However, like, is that enough to get them through like a deep postseason run?
I think the way I see it is they don't have that established foundation that they've had in past years. And if this is one thing you say maybe that is a disadvantage compared to past Yankee teams, they had, whether it was Dellin, Britton, Chapman, or whoever, it seemed they had a set order of what they knew they were going to do if they had a lead late in the game. Now, not so much. But the thing is, it's not like they don't have talent in there. Assuming Holmes is healthy, assuming Peralta and Marinaccio are healthy, what you're probably looking at bullpen-wise is Holmes, Peralta, Loaisiga, Marinaccio, Efros, Trevino, who's been really good. Herman out of the pen, that's a weapon. And then you also got Clark Schmidt and Lucas Littke. So if you go by just the pure talent that you have more than enough arms to get however many outs you need to get to a World Series title. It's just a matter of health, which I feel like we say all the time, but it really is true. And, obviously performance. Are those guys as good as they can be? Which if they are, I think we're absolutely set. So it's not something that, especially with, like the week gap between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs, we have a little bit of time to get right health-wise. So assuming we're going to go on that end, I think we're set up just fine with the bullpen. I really do. What about you?
Fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of looking at it, and I think we're not as enticed by it as in years past, just because the Yankees bullpen isn't the same as in years past.
Like, that was always the one thing we felt great about.
Exactly.
Going into.
Yeah. We're always so used to going into a postseason like with a dominant bullpen, and now it's kind of weird, like with that feeling. However, without that feeling. However, I'm looking at the Yankees bullpen, and one person who I'm viewing as a straight up X factor is Domingo Germán. I'm viewing him as a huge X factor, just because we kind of saw like good stuff from him as a starter, especially since the trade deadline. And I think that throwing him in the bullpen, I'd like to see the Yankees use him out of the bullpen a little bit in the Texas series, just so he could kind of like get used to it a little bit, just being like thrown out there for the ALDS. But yeah, no, I think that he's going to be huge. And I think the way that the ALDS is set up this year with off days and whatnot, you really only need 3 starters, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe even Tyone thrown out of the bullpen too. It's an option.
I don't think we'll get to Tyone, but I'm with you on Germán. And that was a big part of it. You look at back when it was more of a conversation before Tyone really started to shove, but Tyone or Germán, who should be in the rotation? And a big reason why I said Germán is I think that his stuff just translates way better to the pen. And can I give you an eye test take right now that numbers and analytics don't back up at all? Big spot, and you're picking between the two. I think I'm going Germán over Schmidt in a big spot right now. Is that crazy? Is that nuts? I like Schmidt a lot, but just going off the straight eye test, I swear, if anybody throws me fucking stats in the comments, I'm going to lose my mind. This is an eye test. Clark Schmidt, Domingo Germán. I'm going Germán, bro. Is that nuts? What do you think?
No, it's not. But that's my thing, though. It's like I love going based off the eye test because it's just gut. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just going with your
gut.
What's
the postseason all about, bro?
And that's
Gut.
postseason baseball. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, no, I don't knock you at all.
Speaking of gut, I've had
Schmidt,
so much bread and gluten in the last 24 hours. I'm just saying, I feel a little bloated. That's all. We're talking about gut
are you
health.
okay? You
Oh,
need
I'm
like a
doing just fine.
Tums?
No, I don't need a Tums. I shouldn't be talking about my stomach pain because we already talked about it. I'm going right to McDonald's after this to get one of them big breakfasts, the pancakes and the sausage and the eggs. Not a big eggs guy, actually.
Yo, let us know in the comments what your favorite fast food breakfast is. If anyone says like Burger King, just leave. No, like literally.
I'll get up
leave
right now
because
I love Burger King croissants, sausage, egg, and cheeses. I love them to death. Love them.
I
love
do
them.
like
love
croissant
them.
egg sandwiches. I do. I don't
And
know
Burger
from
Kings
Burger
are
King,
banging.
though.
I actually, dude, I saw somebody. I think I was watching a Phase video yesterday. You know, nostalgia. They're like sponsored by McDonald's, and got me thinking, how dope would it be to be able to say, "Welcome to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel, brought to you by McDonald's."
No, it's so funny you say that because I was listening to I think it was Dave Portnoy's podcast, and starting off like, yo, sponsored by Raising Cane's. I've always wanted to try it. Have you tried it?
I've never had it. Is that an out west thing or no?
I don't know. I think it's like a South thing, but apparently they have like the best chicken tenders of all time. I want it. I want to try it. So Dan, speaking of the postseason, speaking of the Yankees bullpen going into the postseason, and speaking of years past, right? I would say easily each year of the Yankees' past couple postseason runs have been a huge disappointment, right? However, mixed in there's been a little sprinkles of greatness, little sprinkles of, oh my God, this is the greatest moment of my life. So I guess kind of like looking at the Judge era, which is like 2017 to
I
now.
love saying that. When I typed this out, by the way,
nice.
I was like, fuck yes, the Judge era. I
so
love
good.
it.
So looking at the Judge era, what's our favorite postseason moment from that time period? I'll let you go first.
Okay, so mine may surprise some people, you know, and maybe you'll be cliche and say the Gary Game 4 ALCS against the Astros in 2017. That's fine. Big moment for sure. The way I thought about it was I want to discuss the moment where I was most happy during the Baby Bombers era. And without a doubt, what that was, and I'm pulling it up right here for myself to watch, I'll put it in the B-roll. Aaron Judge's 2019 ALCS Game 2 home run against Justin Verlander.
Stop.
No, why? You taking my
the same answer for everything.
No, because I love it, Pat. This is why. All right, 2019, at least at that time, that was easily the best team that we had. We went into that playoff saying, yo, we have a legitimate shot. Then we got the first rematch of the century, which we'll get again this fall. But Yankees Astros, we take game 1, easy fashion. I think we won like 4-0, like maybe even like 6-0. I don't even know. Stanton homered. Tanaka shoved. Gleyber homered. It was a great game. And then we're down 1-0 in the 4th inning against Houston. Verlander on the bump. Aaron Judge, our face of the franchise. What does he do? He crushes an opposite field, go ahead, 2-run bomb off Justin Verlander in Houston to give us a 2-1 lead. And I remember after that happened saying to myself, we may actually win the fucking World Series. And it was the best feeling of my life. Of course, you know, it didn't really lead to that, but at that time, that was easily my favorite. I remember I was in this room watching on my TV, jumping for joy, bro. I think I was like, I remember throwing pillows, which was like a weird thing I do when I'm excited. Like I like to throw pillows because it's, you know, it's harmless. That's my moment. Why? Were you going to take that or are you just mad that I always say that?
No. I'm so annoyed because that was my thing. And I was like, yo, this isn't like one of the usual ones that everyone picks. I was like, dude, whatever. All right.
You got to have a backup. You got to have a backup. I had a backup too in case you went first.
I do have a backup, but let me like expand on that moment a little bit more. Like that, I mean, especially if the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, like that was the peak of this era.
No doubt.
That was the moment where I kind of like felt like, yo, we're gonna win the World Series this year. And it's so sad because like sometimes I'll get like snap memories of like the Yankees 2019 like postseason run. And that was the year, man. That was the year.
What about how do you look back at DJ's homer? It was too short-lived, I feel like, for me to because the walk-off was it right after that? Was it the bottom of the ninth? The walk-off?
No, it was the bottom of the ninth. And
so
that's really the thing though. It's like the DJ home run was great, but I had that thought in the back of my mind. I'm like, yo, it's only a tie game. And
see, I thought we were winning that game. My mindset, and I was probably wrong in thinking this, I was immediately thinking game 7. I remember he hit that homer, and the problem was like before you could blink, it felt like you were still enjoying it, and then all of a sudden the game's over, series is over. But like this is kind of it's sad for DJ in a way. It goes along with like Soriano's homer in the 01 World Series. If we won that, dude, if we go on to win that series and then win the World Series, that's one of the biggest home runs of all time that DJ just hit. Still awesome to look back on, but you know, we didn't really get to enjoy it all that much.
I'm gonna say my backup is a little bit more basic. 2017 wildcard game, Didi's home run. Just because I think that's kind of like if you're writing a book on the baby bomber era, Yankees, Judge era, Yankees, whatever you want to call them. That's the starting. That's the start, bro.
I think so. I think if you take if you take the actual circumstances out of everything, I mean, Walker game is pretty damn huge, but like if you don't factor in like how big the round itself was and just look at pure moment and like the atmosphere, that might be number one if you were to make like a top 10 moment from, just from Yankee Stadium, dude. Like, I don't know if it can get louder than it was,
Dude, I was
that time.
there.
And that was so exciting because that was the reawakening of it, And I always say this, people forget that in 2015, Yankee Stadium was ready to go. The top of the first inning was loud as shit against the Houston Astros. Quickly went away when we went down, but dude, that Didi homer, you were there in person for it, I believe, right? See, I saw it on TV, which, talking about in person, we got to give a little props to Judge's 2-run homer in the Walker game from 18. That was awesome that we were both in person there, which is amazing. Talk about knowing you're going to win or something like that. We knew that shit was over. When Judge hit the homer, I think Oakland A's players even said it after the game, at least, off the record. Like, once Judge made contact on that ball, you knew it was over. We were winning that game.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to like stay on the 2018 Walker game, but also, when Betances came in and locked things down. Oh, dude.
Love Dellin. He tweeted out about Judge the other day, too. I love Dellin. He's the man. I hope he's doing well. And one of the coolest things about Dellin, which, mind you, one of the greatest reliever primes of all time, dead ass.
Easy.
2, if I were a Little League pitcher growing up watching Dellin Betances, you bet your ass, after every strike, I would do that little, whatever he does, that twirl thing. What do you call that? Yeah, I love that shit. And he did that hella during that game. But all right, let's move on. What do we got? Some viewer questions?
I like that word, giddy up.
Oh, giddy up. You said it, not me, didn't you? Did I say giddy up?
No, I said it, but I'm kind of like
I didn't say giddy up. I do like that word though.
All right, Dan. So you know where we're at now. Viewer questions. It's my favorite part of the day, just because I love you guys.
Because we love you guys. Some great questions. Great questions. You guys are getting a little weirder with them, which is nice. Right, a little bit. Some of you haven't really gotten the gist yet, but I understand. I mean, hell, it's a Yankees show. You think we're talking like pure Yankees baseball? I don't blame you. But yeah, we're looking for as possible. I don't even remember what is the question today.
This one's from Hungry Bear. I guess he's a bear who's hungry. And he says, if you had to pick between the Yankees losing in the World Series, however, Judge stays on the Yankees, or winning the World Series and Judge goes to the Mets, what would you pick? Dan, I'm gonna let. Wait, no. Actually, I'm gonna go first. No, let me go first. Good, because you went first with the last one, and I feel like you take my answer every single time. So I'm gonna say, I would rather win the World Series and Judge goes to the Mets. That's just me.
Respectfully to Hungry Bear, and I seriously mean this respectfully. No fucking shit. Like, if you were to lose the World Series and you bring back Judge, and you could go into it picking which one you'd want ahead of time, how does that make any sense? Because the reason that you sign Judge and the reason that you sign great players is to win the World Series. If you have all these great players, then it's all for naught. Like, if you're not winning.
No, but I think his logic is,
you're saying that guarantee in 2022, and then it's the rest is up for the air.
Yeah.
I'll still take it, dude. World Series are hard.
No, I'm taking dude. If you have a guaranteed World Series on the table and you don't take it, you're stupid, bro.
Yes, and so what? Yes, absolutely. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. I mean, definitely, you pick the World Series. I don't know for a fact that we're not winning one of the next ones, though.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm just saying I still go with my answer. Little apology to you, Hungry Bear. It's a little better question than I initially thought. Still taking the World Series, though. They're too hard to come by. And also, I want Judge to be World Series MVP. And if that's the case, I mean, the way I see it is, if Judge were to leave after this year, then like all talk of him being a Yankee great besides, this historic season is out the window. But if he were to go on a historic run in October, lead them to a World Series, win like World Series MVP, even if he were to leave, I feel like he's an all-time Yankee no matter what. Like, that might still be talk of like, if he left gracefully, I could still see him getting his number retired. Is that crazy?
Hot take, by the way. I don't even know if this is a hot take. But I'm expecting I might be setting the bar high here. I'm expecting one of the greatest postseasons of all time from Aaron Judge.
Me too.
No joke.
Of all time is a stretch, but I think he's going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to big hit after big hit, like he always does. And just the consistent. I'm not sure how many home runs there's going to be, because I think the whole not pitching to him is going to continue into October. But I would not be shocked if he finishes the month of October with an OBP over 500 with a couple of big homers.
And let's take two things into account here as far as a Judge postseason run. One, I think that he's going to have a tremendous amount of pressure off his shoulders coming off the regular season, with the home run chase being over. And two, bro, we know there's going to be juice balls in the playoffs, right? Let's just be honest as far as that goes.
I'm always for the juice balls. My whole thing with the ball situation is just make sure they're all the same. 2021 was a shit show. It wasn't a level playing field. They had some balls that were deflated, some that were juiced like crazy. I'm all for the balls going an extra 20 feet. Just make sure it's, we're consistent on that.
Just saying.
But yeah, man. Yo, Wait, real quick. Speaking of playoffs, some little housekeeping here. We're probably going to have because we're going to do a playoff preview show, and it's going to be pretty awesome. That's either going to be this Friday, or I guess we could also technically do it for the Monday episode. We'll figure it out, but stay tuned for that.
I think it should be Monday if that's just me, but let us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah,
I think
let us know. Maybe Friday we might do a full like Q&A Friday because we have some time before we're going to have the end of the regular season, like a 1 week gap until ALDS game 1 starts. We'll definitely be able to figure it out. Episode 13 in the books. You look like you're about to say something.
Yo, I was gonna say, speaking of like the little gap, I'm so excited to watch the wild card round.
So
like just to watch postseason baseball and having nothing to ride on it. I can't wait to like be invested in all those matchups. Like, one, to see who the Yankees are going to be playing, and two, just to enjoy postseason baseball, bro.
And I want to give a little bit of condolences to our Mets brotherhood out there, which some of them I get along with. Bro. Hey, some of them I get along with, some I don't.
No, the Braves are an unreal team. Like,
they are, and the Braves. We got to make it clear the Mets didn't exactly collapse. They could have done a little bit better, but no, they went like I think 65 and 45 in the second half or something like that. Braves just were on like a 115 win pace the last 5 months, so nothing you can really do about that. But hey, listen, Mets fans, if anybody's watching this for some reason, understand the playoffs are a crapshoot. Anything can happen. You guys blew the NL East, all good. Wild card round, which I'll be watching the hell of. Facts, Pat. I'm watching, and I'm not always like this, but when the Yankees. Until the Yankees are eliminated, which isn't going to happen, I will be watching probably every single pitch of postseason baseball. I don't know if I've been more pumped for 2019. I was pretty stoked going into October, but this year, man, I really, really am like, I'm ready to go. I think we have a team that is more than capable of winning World Series, and not even just talent, but they're very likable. Like, I feel like this is right alongside with the 19 team as being like I think the best chances we've had going into October and the most likable team we've had going into October. The
I
Baby
think
Bombers.
Mentally too, bro. I think mentally this Yankees team is just built different. I mean, you have so many presences. Is that a word? Presences in that clubhouse that just combine. I don't know.
They mesh. They like really do mesh. Man. And this is what I was saying during the shitty times of August. The Yankees get hot the last 2 weeks of September going into October. Nobody will remember that shit. And guess what? They went up to me. They went hot the whole month of September, not just the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So, we're chilling. We got to wrap this up. It's maybe over 30 minutes now. I don't know. Pat, we should probably start throwing out our Twitter handles and whatnot. Where can they find you on Twitter, Pat?
Find me on Twitter at Unhinged Patrick.
Unhinged Patrick. Yeah, Pat's all about the unhinged shit, if you can't tell. At Dan Onwork on Twitter. And also follow Yankees Avenue on Instagram, Facebook too. Subscribe here on YouTube. Drop a like, drop a comment. Rate, review, subscribe on podcasts, Apple and Spotify if you listen on there. And that's going to do it, Pat. We'll see you guys next time. Let's go.
Love you all.
Yankees.